What's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, and let me finish this, or fix this. So, hey, did it skip the intro? Did it skip the intro? Oh my goodness, what a disaster. Well, guys, I apologize if this skipped the intro. Let me start it over again. It should have worked, but YouTube was being dumb. So here we go. Ha! Someday I am going to have this figured out. Someday I will no longer have technical issues. That someday is probably never. But hey, guys, welcome to it. It is a Friday live stream. Today, as you may have noted by the description and the various broadcasts, advertisements, whatever you want to call them, I don't have a specific topic, but rather we're going to talk about a bunch of topics. We'll just go for a little while, chat about them, the nature of following some of these cases through the court process is that the court process is horrifically slow. So sometimes there are lags and things, but there are some things to talk about. And I'm actually going to apologize as I do this thing that is not ever good, where I'm actually still looking and pulling stuff up for tonight. Because, there's all that whole, I didn't have time to get everything together earlier. So, let me see. No, shut up. Oh, you horrible thing. Stop it. Ugh. So, I'm looking for the documents in the Sesame Street case, which, there's this really interesting thing that websites can do. They can just go ahead and actually put the documents in their news stories, but they don't. They don't. So, yeah, 1 second. I'm going to try and... oh, God. Wow. Everybody about this is terrible at this. So, 1 second. And then we'll get started. I know this is really interesting for you guys. But, yeah. That's how it goes. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find it a little bit later. Anyway, let's get started with everything. Now that you have sat here while I fiddled around enough. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to open up with this interesting case from the state of New Hampshire. And this was tagged to me, I think, by Almonds, Anthony Amendola, if you guys know him. This is a case where the New Hampshire police have charged and arrested a man for criticizing them on the internet. Because there seems to be a lot of that going around, where people think that if someone says something critical of you on the internet, that you have some sort of legal recourse against them. Well, I guess. Jonah Need, how much do I have to pay to watch this? Always more than whatever you have paid now. Always more than whatever you have paid now. So, a couple points of housekeeping. So I picked up this glass on my trip to Legoland, and I was going to use this to drink from the earth. I thought that was cool. It's made of rocks. And then, of course, when we got home, I immediately dropped it out of the car right onto the pavement, and it broke. So I'm going to drink from it anyway, and I'm going to try and repair that. But let's see. What am I going with? I'm going to go with this rye whiskey tonight, because I haven't had it in a while. I apologize if I was mumbly there. That was good diction coming from me. So I don't know what drinking whiskey out of stone will be like, but I'm guessing it'll be like drinking whiskey out of anything else. Tastes the same, and that is delicious. Lucifer Love Monkey says, "Oh, thanks, Jonah. I almost forgot. Here's my legal advice fee." Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you. I now am somehow offering you legal advice over the internet. And what is up with my streaming lately? It's just terrible. The bit rate on this thing has just gone to garbage. But yeah, we're gonna plug through. Who knows what's causing that? Anyway, so let's go through this article real quick, and then we'll talk about the complaint. Because this is an interesting case. This is scary stuff, guys. This is actual scary stuff. Yeah. So anyway, on May 23rd, a police officer arrested Robert W. Fries in Exeter, New Hampshire, and took him to the station for booking. And isn't New Hampshire like the Liberty State, right? Like, isn't that their whole thing? They're the freest state in the nation. Hamilton Burger, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, so hopefully the bitrate won't keep fluctuating like it has. Ever since I've gotten back from my vacation, the bitrate has been kind of spiky, so hopefully not. But yeah, live free or die is the state motto of New Hampshire. I guess die. I guess that's the option here, because living free doesn't seem to be on the menu. So, it took him to the station for booking. Fries is no stranger to law enforcement. In the past, he has been convicted of fraud, criminal trespassing, and a hit and run. Is an upstanding citizen. His vehicle was easy to track because of its notable vanity plate, Trump won. Which is funny. But this latest arrest, Fries learned, had nothing to do with those earlier mishaps. Instead, why would it? Why would it if he had already dealt with those? It shouldn't have anything to do with them anyway. Poor journalism, I think. Instead, he had been apprehended for insulting a police officer on the internet. The facts of the case laid out by the Seacoast Online and the criminal complaint, which is right here. If you want to see the facts, like, they're going to talk about them, but here they are. The laws of New Hampshire for which the defendant should be held to answer, in that the defendant did purposely communicated on a public website in writing information which he knows to be false and knows will tend to expose another person to public contempt by posting that Chief Shoop covered up for a dirty cop. Okay. Sweet and sour pork, you have not missed much other than me fumbling around. Let's keep going. The facts against Fries are straightforward. On May 3rd, Fries wrote a comment on the Seacoast Online article about recently retiring police officer Dan D'Amato. He believed that D'Amato had treated him unfairly and harshly criticized his alleged misconduct. He then tore into Exeter Police Chief William Shoop, declaring that Chief Shoop covered up for this dirty cop. And I'm going to move this over because this is... Yeah, that's better. Although the outlet removed the comment, why? Why should they remove the comment? Why can't these dirty cops just take a shower? That's a good question. Kiwi Farms, I will answer that in just a minute. For just a minute. Although the outlet removed the comment, the police charged Freese with criminal defamation of character, a Class B misdemeanor in New Hampshire. Police departments have authority to prosecute these low-level crimes. So, in this case, typically with a crime, the police would put together a file and hand that to a county attorney or a grand jury, depending on the level of the crime, and they would determine if they should bring charges. Typically, the police do not bring charges, but in New Hampshire, for low-level misdemeanors, they can. Gatsgat says, the F we talking about tonight still owe a song. Still owe a song? We're talking about a bunch of stuff, buddy. Read the description, and you'll find out some of the things. But I added this to the agenda first. Hope things are good, not tired from driving. I'm still tired from driving, but no, I've had a couple days to recoup. I've been in court a couple times in different places, so that was even more driving. That was great. So yeah, this is a Class B misdemeanor. The police are allowed to prosecute these. They don't have to go to the county attorney, and that's probably why this case exists, because I can pretty much promise you that the county attorney would not be bringing this case against someone. For the subscriber goal. Oh, man. Am I just like really tired? Forgot about that. Anyway, I'm going to plug through this issue and then we'll take a moment to talk some more. Okay, so their complaint alleged that he purposely communicated on a public website in writing information which he knows to be false and knows will tend to expose another person to public contempt by posting that Chief Shoop covered up for a dirty cop. Freese's arrest was quite unusual. Class B misdemeanors may result in fines but not jail time, and officers do not typically detain a suspect whose alleged crime may not be punished with the deprivation of liberty. So this is starting to look problematic. Right, because if you wouldn't go to jail for what you're guilty for, the police probably aren't going to haul you into jail unless you start violating court orders or missing court appearances, stuff like that. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, buddy. I picked it up in, where were we? We were at Lookout Point in Kentucky, I think. I think it was Kentucky. Either, it might have been in Tennessee still. Oh, yeah, in Chattanooga. Lookout Mountain. And which I, of course, wanted to go to Lookout Mountain because of the Transformers movie. But we didn't actually go through Lookout Mountain on the tour because the line was like 2 hours long. And that was not going to happen. H King 36. Let me so here, let me do a quick housekeeping. Let me get through this initial thing about the New Hampshire police, and then I will talk about the next topic will be Landau and Dick. So H King 36, ask me that question once we move on to the next topic and remind me, because I want to talk about that. And Save State, I would love to go to some Road Rage shows, but I can't go to Dallas because I just can't be there that day. But whatever the next one is, I'll be looking very, very hard at because I definitely want to be at one of them. Okay, so yeah. So let's see. The police released Freese on his own recognizance. His arraignment is scheduled for July 10th. The criminal complaint against Robert Freese, Exeter Police Department. Oh, that's just... That's this guy right here. Good job, me. Are these actions by the Exeter Police actually legal? Almost certainly not. And for once, a journalistic article has gotten a legal issue correct. I mean, so Kiwi Farms asked if this would be basically per se defamation, because if you accuse someone of a crime, a knowingly false accusation of that crime, that would be per se defamation. We've discussed that in the Dick Masterson lawsuit because Landau brought it up when Maddox was indicated that Maddox may have commit perjury. It sure looks like he commit perjury. But if someone were to say that someone committed a some sort of crime, a serious crime, and they said it as a factual statement, knowing it to be false, and it was false, then that would be per se defamation. And what the difference between per se defamation and just regular defamation is that in a per se defamation case, the damages are presumed. So you don't have to prove that anyone was damaged by it. The damages are presumed by the court, and then you have a much easier path to victory on the damages prong of the test. So in this case, though, however, this guy is talking about his opinion about what a police chief did. A police chief is definitely a public figure, at least in the jurisdiction or close to the jurisdiction where he is a police chief and related to his job duties. So now if you're talking about the police chief and his involvement in like some sort of church board or something like that, and you make defamatory statements in that context, maybe he's not a public figure in that conversation. But if you're talking about him in his capacity as police chief, he becomes a public figure. So they would then have to prove, and this is criminal court, so they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, not just not just the lower civil standard. Okay, they have to go all the way to the criminal standard beyond any reasonable doubt that he knew for a fact that this was false and then said it anyway. But even then, this is political speech, as the article will go on to say. You're talking about a political issue involving a political public figure, and you're voicing your distaste for the actions of a public figure. Like, there is really not a defamation case that can be brought. Like, you can say, for example, the media can say that President Trump paid money to be urinated on by prostitutes in Russia. And that's not defamation because it's the president of the United States. And there really just isn't much you can do to defame public figures at this level. Because if you punish someone for having an opinion about a political figure, suddenly that looks very bad in regards to the First Amendment. So Lucifer Love Monkey says, Hot Rod was the worst Transformer character ever. His crimes must never be forgotten. Man. Yeah, I mean, he did. F for Optimus Prime, y'all. It would be defamatory if he didn't do it. And they knew he didn't do it. But surely making definite accusations about someone of crimes is different than having opinions. Well, that's the question, isn't it? With this guy is, do we know that him saying, like, people say that cops cover up for dirty cops all the time. Like, that's not really a definite accusation of a crime. That is, how do we put this? That's a criticism, a very frequently voiced criticism of how police stations operate. So I really think that they have a tough choice, and pretty much any. If it was out and we could read it, there'd be no question. Yeah, I'm not sure why they removed the comment. Like, that's weird to me. Why would the publication remove that comment? But yeah, let's move on. And then let's see what the article says, because I skimmed it, and I'm pretty sure I agree with their assessment. And so does the ACLU, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So political speech, and in particular, criticism of public officials, lies at the heart of the First Amendment. The Exeter police would have to overcome several hurdles to secure conviction. Perhaps most obviously, the law under which Freese was charged may be unconstitutional on its face. That's not true. It is not unconstitutional on its face. This law has existed for a long time, or for a long enough time. It has actually been challenged in the courts. It has survived that challenge. It is not facially unconstitutional. It can be unconstitutional in its application, and that is a little bit different. But this is not a facially unconstitutional law because defamation is not protected speech. It just isn't. So to have a statute punishing defamation on a criminal level is not facially unconstitutional because there's still the test for whether or not it's defamation. Have some per se damages, you STD haver. Why didn't they just block him? Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question. So anyway, this is not unconstitutional on its face. So they're wrong there because this has been out there. But the constitutional grounds you would challenge it on are one, vagueness and overbreadth. So vagueness would be that the listed speech that is, or the listed crimes or elements of the crimes are too vague to be understood or rationally decided. So it gives the government too much leeway, because if it's too vague, you can't defend against whatever it's trying to, they could apply it to too many different things. Would colloidal silver prevent STDs? No, but silver hammers are very good at preventing STDs. Is New Hampshire one of those weird states with sex laws? Are facials unconstitutional? I have no idea. They should have called his job. So yeah. So they say it might be unconstitutional on its face. I highly disagree. Overbreadth would be the other one, where overbreadth is where a statute in the speech context, a statute is set up to penalize unprotected speech, but the wording of the statute would be so overbroad that it would also collect protected speech. Overbreadth can be defeated by how the statute is applied. And in this case, I don't think overbreadth applies because it only applies to defamatory speech, specifically hold on, I have it pulled up on my own thing here. Let's see. I'll read you what the statute actually says, because it's very basic. So it says, a person is guilty of a Class B misdemeanor if he purposely communicates to any person, orally or in writing, any information which he knows to be false and knows will tend to expose any other living person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule. So these are the elements, and this is actually the heightened standard, the elements of defamation with actual malice. So that would be, in a civil context, defamation with actual malice. Knowledge of the falsity and knowledge that the damage would be caused by the falsehood being spread. So since that speech isn't actually protected by the Constitution, this is not overbroad, because if it's got the basic test for defamation, then defamatory speech isn't protected. So on its face, it's constitutional, and it has survived. So let's move on, though. Let's see. Statute criminalizes false speech that tends to expose a living person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule without distinguishing between expression directed at private individuals and public figures. That's not true, because they have the actual malice test written into the statute, and the actual malice test is the difference between private individuals and public figures. But the First Amendment protects some false speech, particularly in the context of political debate. That's true. And the astonishing breadth of this law, outlawing any fiction that brings ridicule upon a living person, raises serious constitutional concerns. It's not just bringing ridicule, though. It's also knowingly false statements. So it has to be knowingly false and has to know about the ridicule. Who's defaming Bert and Ernie now? Still getting up to speed. Puppet rights. We're going to talk about Sesame Street in a little bit. Let's see. Even if the statute comports with the Constitution, and it almost certainly does, I want to be clear on that, its application in this case remains suspect, and that is correct. Under New York Times versus Sullivan, the government may not penalize criticism of public officials like a police chief unless it was made with actual malice, knowledge of its falsity, or reckless disregard to its truth. This is where the journalism goes astray, because that's in the statute itself. That stringent standard protects rhetorical hyperbole, which appears to be what Freeze engaged in here. It's not at all clear that Freeze intended to express a statement of fact. Read in context, his comment seems to imply that the police chief excused the patrolman's alleged misbehavior. Freeze is not necessarily accusing Shoup of a crime, so much as drawing on an inference from his own manifold encounters with the Exeter police. Sullivan plainly protects his right to fling this disparagement at Shoup, even if it might not be true in a strictly literal sense. And that's really the crux of his argument, and what the defense will be. Do they know that he's making a false statement of fact? That's the real question. Rather than just a heated opinion, even if that heated opinion is a falsehood, that's okay. So let's see. There's virtually no chance the department could clear this high bar. And that, I agree. I agree 100%. Sullivan is particularly relevant here because of the odd facts of this case. It is extremely unusual for the government to prosecute defamation as a crime. The vast majority of defamation claims are civil suits in which one party seeks redress from the other. Here, the Exeter police are attempting to use the machinery of government to retaliate against an individual for denigrating them. Their charge of criminal defamation is strikingly similar to the old offense of seditious libel, or unlawful criticism of the government, which the Sullivan court condemned as anathema to the First Amendment. By using a broad defamation law to suppress speech hostile to state officials, the Exeter police have invoked the spirit of the notorious Sedition Act of 1798, a law the court found to be unconstitutional in Sullivan. Gilles Bisonnet, legal director of the American Civil Liberties Union of New Hampshire, is looking into Freeze's case and told me on Friday that he's disturbed by the prosecution. It appears that the police may be using the statute to suppress speech that is critical of police. I mean, is it that clear? Oh, right, yeah, Kiwi. This is a criminal case. That's the big distinction. The police chief could maybe bring a civil case, but I think even there he'd have a really hard time winning. But bringing a civil case, that's fine if he wanted to bring that, because he would then be risking it being a frivolous lawsuit if it had no basis in law, and then having to pay fees. So Maine police are actually fascist and coming after our colloidal silver. New Hampshire police. Okay. He told me this is deeply troubling. He added that while there is a public interest in preventing defamation, it is not sufficient to justify the repressive effect that criminal libel prosecutions may have on public expression. It would be prudent, Bisonnet said, Bisonnet, probably, for the Exeter police to dismiss this charge immediately. Later, Rajveer. I thought you were Ravjir for the longest time. I apologize. And by apologize, I mean I don't actually care. Rajveer. I always read your name wrong. Rude. Rude of you to not have a name that I read correctly. The situation in Exeter may seem to be little more than a minor mishap, but as pundits and politicians debate censorship on college campuses, it's important to remember that law enforcement has vast power to suppress expression it dislikes. Immigration activists have credibly accused federal agents of targeting them on the basis of their speech. Demonstrators protesting police brutality have been subject to violence and wrongful arrests because of their expression. Other police departments have allegedly retaliated against citizens who contribute to negative media coverage of officers and journalists conducting investigations. The Exeter case is a bracing reminder that people with guns and badges often present the most immediate threat to the freedom of speech. And this was in Slate magazine, so, take that for what it's worth. So anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about that because it seems like there are some people out there in other spheres who are hung up on the idea that someone making fun of them is somehow actionable. Or someone being critical is somehow actionable. It typically is not. And with that, let's pivot to Dick Masterson. And if you do not know, if you're not aware, Dick was on a long live stream, like it makes my live streams look short, guys. And that's saying something. Dick was on a long live stream yesterday. I don't remember the live stream's name. Kill something. Anybody have that name of that stream. Just I'm still not back in my brain. Kill stream. Kill stream. Yes. And Dick indicated that that Landau has contacted him and suggested that he is preparing a settlement offer because Landau's Google results are now messed up because Dick was talking about him. So, yes, with the Ralph retort. Kill stream with the Ralph retort. And HKing0036 says, can Landau claim that he's not a public figure and threaten people for defamation beside the fact that it's all public info? Or does being involved with the case affect that in some way? Thank you very much for asking that. Yes. Kevin Landau is almost certainly not a public figure. Okay. Kevin Landau is an attorney who took on a case, and the case involved a public, well, the case involved someone that Kevin Landau bafflingly argued was a public figure because it hurts their case for Maddox to be a public figure. So it was like the dumbest, not the dumbest, but it was an extremely short-sighted choice for them to make. Okay? Extremely short-sighted choice for them to choose to paint Maddox as a public figure, especially when Maddox's book was a bestseller. As stated, I think on that stream, it was a bestseller in the self-help category, meaning that the bar to bestsellerhood is much lower than, like, you know, a genre fiction book or something like that. But anyway, so his book sells what, like 40,000 copies, I think, over the course of its life. And he has something like 300,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube at some point. No longer, as they start falling off every time he does a video and all that stuff. Maddox is really, if you want to know if Maddox is a public figure, okay, here's the test. Go to your grocery store. Go to every single person in that grocery store and ask them if they know who Maddox is. Just try that. And see how many yeses you get. Let's see. Max, what do you want? What do you want? I'm baked. RN, how much legal trouble would I be in if the police came in? Probably very little, unless you have actual drugs on you. But you know, it's not really illegal to be high on marijuana. It's illegal to have it. Possession is the crime in Minnesota. Lucifer Love Monkey. Speaking of TF the movie. Have you ever said, I have nothing but contempt for this court? Not yet. Not yet. Well, if the police catch you with drugs on you, buddy, then yeah, it depends on how much you got and what kinds. I work at a grocery store and brought up the case to lawyers who stopped by. Nobody I have asked has heard of Maddox or Dick. Right. Like they're public to us, maybe in this limited community aspect, but these are not public figures. Now go to your grocery store at the same time as you ask everybody if they know who Dick Masterson is. Ask if they know who Sylvester Stallone is. And you're going to get a lot of yeses. You might get some no's depending how young the audience is because he hasn't been in as much lately. But like that's the test, guys, for who's a public figure. Either they're an elected official or they're so ubiquitous, they're so notoriously, or they have such, the words from the court are pervasive notoriety, that people know them wherever they go. You're not a public figure if you're Maddox, if you're a half anonymous Armenian hiding behind the internet, like you're just not a public figure. So Landau certainly is not. And there's actual significant case law to state that a lawyer who takes on a case of a public figure does not become a public figure just because he took on that case. He might become a public figure if he does what the lawyer Michael Avenatti for Stormy Daniels, right? He has gone on a media crusade against Trump and for Stormy Daniels related to the case. Michael Avenatti has become a public figure. He has thrust himself into the public spotlight. He's becoming a name people talk about. He's commenting publicly on the case and on major network television. This guy is probably a public figure. Kevin Landau is not doing that. So, no, there's almost no way that Kevin Landau is considered a public figure. So, you know, everything that you say about Landau should be true to the best of your knowledge, or should be an opinion. Like, my opinion is that he has done a terrible job representing Maddox, and he is not worth $600 an hour. That's my opinion. And I base that on the fact that his case was dismissed for being so poorly written. Yeah, Johnny Cochran probably was a public figure. Yeah. Gats, just asked the guy at the counter. He said, that the guy who lets people F his beautiful model girlfriend? Guess he's a public figure. Hashtag legally a cuck. So no. So let's talk real quick about this thing though. So Landau has said that his Google results are a disaster. And that because his Google results are messed up, he has proposed he's going to propose a settlement offer to Dick Masterson, presumably to avoid a lawsuit in which he would sue Dick Masterson. Gats. So we should stop saying he rides a bike unless we want to be sued. Yeah, I don't actually know if he rides a bike, but it would be a good alternative to driving a car, which he's probably not allowed to do. Was the guy at the counter Maddox? I mean, I assume it's a fancy bike with a bell and one of those cards in the spokes. Probably Ace of Spades. Yeah, so, you know, if Landau were to try and sue Dick, I don't know where he'd sue him. I guess Los Angeles would be the venue. He would likely get just annihilated. There's. I don't know that Dick has said anything about Landau that is not either true or obviously an opinion. And you can have that opinion. You can have opinions that are negative about people. You know, I have negative opinions about a bunch of you. You guys probably have negative opinions about me. Maybe not entirely negative, but there's got to be some stuff. Like you think I look stupid with a mustache or whatever. I don't care. Like that, whatever it is. We have negative opinions of all different people for all different reasons. That's okay. It's protected. And it's protected to voice them. And it's protected to tell other people your negative opinions in an attempt to influence their perception of another person. Slap laws, yeah. That's one of them. The other one is just like just getting. He'd either have to represent himself in California, and we know how that would go, or he'd have to hire a California attorney to do it, because I don't think Zach, his brother, or his dad, Papa Landau, are licensed in California, so they wouldn't be they wouldn't be flying out there to defend him or to run his offense. A's and Alcoholics Anonymous. So he can represent himself. He can represent himself. That is up to him. Everyone has the right to proceed pro se without any sort of licensing requirements or anything like that. So, I could represent myself in any state in the union without a license. That's fine. So could you. That's okay. But it doesn't really matter because if he, Man, I kind of hope Dick releases that email. Or the settlement offer when it comes in. But Landau, I don't know. Like, I don't know if his just nature of... He seems like the kind of guy who is overly litigious. It's the type of attorney I don't like, personally. Like, I don't like this method where everything needs to go to court. Everything's a motion. Everything any perceived slight should be brought before a judge and deserves monetary compensation. These people waste time, money, resources of the court and of everybody else. I don't like it. I don't like it. But he seems to be that kind of lawyer. So I don't know if that's just his pervasive litigious nature seeping through, that he's lashing out at me. He's lashing out at Dick. I mean, I guess technically he lashed out at me a month and a half ago. It just took a while for everything to go through. He hasn't contacted me since then, although he'll be receiving contact from me soon. If he thought Maddox's career was worth $300 million, imagine what he thinks his is worth at $600 an hour. Yeah, and the funny thing is, let me see if I can let me get a browser. Where's my... Oh, I need a new... Hold on. Let me get a new browser window. Bear with me on this one for just a second. Let's take a look at... Oh, that's terrible. Where'd that... No. Hold on. Once I get this pulled up, we're going to just take a live look. There we go. Oh, that's lovely. No, bring this. Okay, give me just a second here. All right. Oh, gosh. Everything about that's terrible. What is... I hate everything, guys. I hate it. I hate it. Let me just see if I can just do it this way. I just want to make up the point here. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry. The first result is Kevin Landau dog bite. And that just makes me happy. Okay. But if we Google Kevin Landau, man, OBS has a crappy little browser thing here. But you see that the first result, can you even see this? What is wow. Can I put this behind it? Gosh. Is this... No, this is terrible. So anyway. Let's see. I don't have crazy porn bookmarks. But okay, so third result here is another instance of Kevin Landau lying to the court. I mean, you can maybe see it on here, but with the black background, it's kind of tough. I know. I don't know how to fix this. It's weird. But yeah. So, and then it links, this is just Reddit posts. But this is really like it. is like these Reddit posts. But these Reddit posts aren't from Dick, right? They're from, let's see. Who wrote this? This is 688AS wrote this Reddit post. Another instance of Kevin Landau lying to the court. There are other ones. Oh, God. Navigation on this garbage. I'm getting rid of that. Go. Ugh. But my point in all this is, if he's going to try and sue Dick for his Google results, good luck, buddy. Dick didn't do that. Dick didn't make those Google posts. You're going to have a hard time. Very hard time. Make a new scene in OBS and don't have chroma key and you'll fix it. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. You guys can Google it. You guys Google and click on it. Make it the top result. That'd be funny. So the long and short is, if Landau wants to sue Dick, he's gonna have a real hard time winning. I never want to say definitively someone will win or someone will lose, because it's court, right? It could always be some weird thing. But yeah, he'd have a real hard time getting to victory. So his settlement offer is dumb. But this is likely fueled by Landau pushing that temporary restraining order. If you remember, Landau tried to put a temporary restraining order on the entire internet, and in doing so, Dick backed down from talking about Landau and talking about his DUIs and all that stuff. Dick pulled back from that, and we found that out from what was it? Something. I don't know where that was. Was that? That was in my ethics complaint, right? Like, was that? I think so. I think that's where we found it out. He mentioned that he brought the motion. Dick withdrew and said he wouldn't release this information. And then Landau accused me of releasing information that Dick gave to me. But, I had other sources for... other sources, Landau, because it was a public document, pal. So, nice try. Am I being restrained? Yes. But anyway, I'm emailing this Landau this live stream just like you wanted. Again, never contact Kevin Landau. That is my routine position, especially since he lied and stated that I actually asked people to bother him when I asked people to do the opposite. Stop lying, Kevin. Stop lying. It's unbecoming. Jacob Cerezia, can you sue Landau? Can I sue Landau? Maybe. The question is, will I? At this point, no. No, I have no intention of suing Kevin Landau. Complete waste of time. What he did was completely unprofessional and unethical. And I'll say that with confidence. Him filing an ethics complaint against me is not unethical. Him lying about things that I did in that ethics complaint is highly, highly unethical and potentially disbarable. But I have no intention of suing him. I'd rather just make fun of him. You dumb idiot. So, what if your songs make fun of him? You can make fun of him all day. What you can't do is make a false statement of fact about him. He's just a chicken. Nobody calls me a chicken. No, I'm not going to sue him. Actually, what I would love more than anything, and I think you guys might like this, I want Kevin Landau. Kevin, if you're watching, I am going to formally request an interview with you. I would love to have you on my show. I think that would be magic. We can talk about all sorts of stuff. We can talk about, what kind of cases you do. And I'll make it, we can be hostile or we can be friendly. I don't care. We can do whatever you want. So Kevin Landau, come on my show. Come on my show. You're going to get a letter from me. And in that letter will be an invitation to come on my show. And I'm going to broadcast that letter to the world so everyone will know that I did send it and what it said. So you will be welcome to come on my show. You can call me a moron or an idiot and say I'm completely wrong. Kind of looks like I was right. But you can say whatever you want. I'm fine with it. Let's do it. Get on my show. I'm calling him a dog. Is that a false fact? No one would reasonably believe that was true. Didn't you say in your last stream that someone was calling you constantly during your stream? Yeah, someone was, and I actually don't know who it was. This time, usually they don't do anything other than just ring over and over. This time they left voicemails, and the voicemails was just my own voice played back to me. So that was wonderful. I don't understand why you tell everyone not to contact him now when in private, in your official capacity as a law, you tell us to use the Batman algorithm to dox all his information. Don't let the dog on the furniture. So yeah, in all seriousness, I will give Kevin Landau a platform to talk about whatever he is authorized to talk about in regards to the lawsuit or in regards to other stuff. Like this guy, as much as I think he is terribly incompetent, he pulls in some really interesting clients on some crazy stuff that, like, I'm in rural Minnesota. I would love to know how this guy is pulling in cases that involve accusations against high-level hedge fund managers of grooming and raping women, of Hollywood media executives, grooming and raping Moe's grandson. Like, how is this guy landing these clients? What does he do to do that type of stuff? Those types of people aren't on my radar where I practice. So it's foreign to me. It's very interesting. I think it'd be interesting to other people too. So, yeah. Hi, Demi Darkness. Welcome to it. And I would hope that Kevin Landau would do a live stream Q&A with me, but I won't hold him to that. If he'd want to do a recorded episode, I'd understand, but I would want to do a live one. Gatsgat says, F you, Clay, you are a lush. Now, that was one of the things in my ethics complaint that really bothered me, by the way, is that Gatsgats, you did a super chat just now that had a profane word and I didn't say it. And similarly, I was accused of using the same profane word against Kevin Landau in one of my former live streams, and I did not use the word. I actually censored it. So, have I seen the info that came out about Stormy Daniels' law firm? I've seen that there's a bunch of stuff going on with Michael Avenatti. If you're gonna take on the President of the United States, this is not a threat from the president. Everyone in the world is going to look into you. So be careful what they find. That's all. Pour one out for Asterios' job at Weber Sandwich. Yeah. Oh, Kevin Landau would crush me in a drink-off, man. Last man standing stays on the bar. Challenge him to a drinking contest. He would crush me. Guy, I drink on stream, and that's almost the entirety of it. Dr. Richard R. Ape, no, we have not talked about Arabandy yet. I can't even type the profane words in super chats. I have to put in space here. For now, let's fix that for you. All right. What is his base clientele? He's primarily a dog bite lawyer or something else. He does not seem to be a dog bite lawyer. I think that might have been something he specialized early on in Michigan, and that just kind of came up on a search result. And that's kind of the joke. But he seems to be into, high profile personal injury stuff. He would crush you literally on the drive home as well. You wouldn't win if you had to walk in a straight line while drinking. What's the update on the Mars Argo case? I'll get to that in just a second. Could we crowdfund money for you to sue Landau for that complaint he filed against you? No, I don't. Like, even he has a defense. His defense is strong in that he can say he was in good faith attempting to exercising a right that he had to file that complaint. It's similar to why it would be, Maddox said a bunch of false stuff in his complaint, but it would be really hard for anyone to sue Maddox based on what was in that document, because Maddox has a right to bring a lawsuit. Even if it's a bad lawsuit, he has a right to do it. And to punish someone for bringing a lawsuit is a big step for the court to take, because it chills the possibility of the next lawsuit. What do we need to do to get you in the same room with Landau? We'll figure that out. I will be contacting him very soon. Very soon. But I have no desire to sue him. Like I said, I'd much rather have him on my show, and we could just hash it out right here. That'd be great. It'd be like Hannity and Combs, except I'd be interesting and Hannity and Combs aren't. Landau has to hold sidewalk rage events because he can't drive. As a lawyer, shouldn't he have a higher bar for good faith, given he was obviously lying in the documents he sent you? Yeah, I think what he did would be actually an actionable ethics violation, if I were to pursue that. But again, I don't have any guys. Like, I'm really, really pro free speech, and I'd be very, very hesitant to take legal action in any capacity against someone for speech. I really would. I don't like that idea. I super chatted a Rekieta plug on the Ralph retort, Rekieta Law. Where do I file for company reimbursement? Thanks, buddy, but I'd rather you super chat here. Although they did mention my show on the Ralph retort. Hearing Medicare mention my name was a little bit interesting. Mispronounced my name, I should say. Just caught the stream, got a super spark notes of the stream so far. We just talked about this case in New Hampshire. You can go back and watch the first 25, 30 minutes of it. But that case in New Hampshire is really interesting. A guy was arrested for criticizing the police. So I'll think about it, but I'm currently not interested in pursuing it at all. There's not really an amount that would get me there. I would much rather, and I'm considering doing this, I would much rather crowdfund a lawsuit against Facebook and a local Minnesota senator to try and get Facebook as a designated public forum in the same way Twitter is, and to start I have a personal goal of having Facebook named a designated Facebook and Twitter named a designated public forum, and preventing their ability to block people from the service. So I would much rather do that, and I'll be talking about that in the future. So yeah. Next step, next thing to talk about is Poppy. I released a Poppy video yesterday, and I heard that, in my Poppy video, let me see if I have I don't really have much new documents, but I want to talk about it here as well, just in case anyone hasn't seen, that. Oh, go away. Just in case anyone didn't happen to see that video, but there's been no movement in the Poppy case at this point. Buying feet pics. I actually have a plaintiff withstanding to sue at least the congressman, potentially lined up. So when I am ready to crowdfund that, I will be making very much an announcement to see if we can do it. And the crowdfunding would honestly just be to cover filing fees and legal fee, some work fees for me, because the guy, he's a friend of mine who's blocked by a congressman in Minnesota, and for very much protected political speech. He said 0 offensive things, and it would be an excellent candidate for a plaintiff withstanding to bring that case. So, but he's just not in a position to fund the case. No one really is. And so it would be covering my work fees, and then what I would do is take any extra money and donate it somewhere. And Matuz, yes, I have seen the information about Arab Andy, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Right now, we're pivoting to Poppy, real quick, and I'm doxing my Pacer login information, but it doesn't have my password or anything. But there you go. So the complaint against Poppy is stuck in limbo right now. I'll just talk about this real quick because I did do a 10-minute video on it last night. But, what I didn't ever get around to saying, I got a couple people saying that notifications did not come out for it. Likely because Google is, I think Google is actually dragging my search results. Because I'll give you guys all a fun test. Go on Bing, type in Rekieta Law, click on the video results, and see what comes up. Then go on Google, type in Rekieta Law, click on the video results, and see what comes up. Then you can pick pretty much any other service than Google, and you'll get some vastly different results than Google. And if you read what the Google search results, they're a little bit interesting. And yeah, Null did give me a little tip off on that. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And I am looking to find out some confirmation from some sources inside Google, but waiting to hear back. But so anyway, I think that maybe my channel might also have a little bit of shadow ban action going, but maybe not. I don't know. I can't prove it. But since the notification didn't go out, this is just another opportunity for people to see what's going on with Poppy. Right now, a summons was issued on April 23rd. Mars Argo has 90 days to take that summons and serve it upon Poppy and Titanic Sinclair and their respective corporations. If she does not do that in 90 days, the suit will likely be dismissed without prejudice by the court, or Poppy or Sinclair could file a motion to dismiss it without prejudice. So then she could redo the suit in the future. However, she would have to pay new filing fees and stuff like that. So if she likely has not actually served the summons yet. Once you serve the summons, you would serve a proof of service of that summons to the court, or you would file a proof of service of the summons to the court, and then that would start the timer running on that 21 days for Poppy and Titanic Sinclair to respond. There's a lot of reasons she may not have served the summons yet. One is that she just hasn't served it because she can't find them. Another would be that she hasn't served it because she wants them to sweat. And another would be that she hasn't served them because she wants to gin up enough time for a media response to get the media interested in the case. A final reason may be because she might not ever intend to serve them. If she doesn't ever serve them, all she's out is a filing fee. Her case would be dismissed without prejudice, but she has generated significant press and may use that as a launch pad to rebrand herself or to revitalize her existing brand. You search Rekieta Law in the Pornhub browser, and they might also be shadow banning your lawsplaining videos. My videos are not up at Pornhub, and I hope they never have to be. Just because, I would rather them just be on a platform that is... I have no problem with people having pornography platforms or anything like that. I would just like my content to not have to be on there because I would like it to be on the easily accessible one. Hi from Poland, eating breakfast and watching. Hey, buddy. Hi from America, from a at least partial poll. And if you are interested, let me see. Matuz? I don't know how to pronounce Polish, even though it's part of my heritage. I am actually going to the Polish Festival in Bremond, Texas, in June. So if anybody out there is able to come to the Polish Festival in Bremond, Texas in June, I think it's June 22nd and 23rd, or 21st and 22nd. Look it up. Come eat sausage, drink some whiskey with me, and we'll have a good Polish time and make fools of ourselves. There is a Rekieta Street in Bremond, Texas, and I will be there for that. So if anyone is up for that, come out and join me. That'd be a lot of fun. Gatscat says they should be, given how often you F Maddox. But yeah. So anyway, Poppy. So it's up to Mars Argo what to do next. The ball is still in her court. She has 90 days, so that would be July. Yeah, that would be July 23rd, roughly, that she has to serve it, and then it'll be 21 days from that point for them to respond, and we will see what they decide to do. The other possibility is that she has served it, and they have an agreement. Maybe their lawyers reached out to her lawyers and said, "Hey, we want to respond, but let's do an extension, see if we can work this out. And then if we can't work it out in some sort of negotiation, we'll respond afterwards." That's very common for attorneys to do, is to negotiate a longer response, just so that they can have some further discussion on it. Save state, come up to Bremond. Pour one out for Asterios. Why would I pour one out? I'll pour one in. Results, if I recall, are region-based, and maybe they're just hitting you in your home state because everything comes up fine for me. Sent a screenshot on the Twatter. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Am I allows if I'm Russian Jewish? Yeah, of course. I think the Texas polls are very accepting of everybody. So anyway, that's the Poppy update. The Poppy update is we're waiting. Further, there is a order for protection hearing between Mars Argo and Corey Mixter, otherwise known as Titanic Sinclair. The order for protection hearing on that is July 13th. So that's where that is. We have no real update there. Waiting on that hearing. And that might be, they'll have that hearing before the 90 days is due. Mars Argo may be gunning to have a order for protection issued at that hearing prior to going forward with the civil lawsuit. And she may use that as a barometer for how it'll turn out. So that's where that is. That's where Poppy is. So there's your Poppy update. Let's see. If I convert a gun into a bong, is it a firearm or paraphernalia? I don't know. I would assume that a firearm has to be working under the ATF definition of firearm, but I don't actually know if that's true. I love Poppy, Rekieta Law, says Dr. Richard R. Ape. I am glad that you do. I don't want to like sell myself as a huge Poppy fan or anything like that. I'm neutral on Poppy versus Mars Argo artistically. I will say that I think Mars Argo does not have a strong case. And if you remember, I have promised to do a video arguing for Mars Argo, and I have had a lot of trouble doing it because it's really difficult to do. Partly because I'm just not as versed in the lore of Mars Argo and Poppy as some of you are, so that makes it really tough. Okay, so the next is a Google update. I have a Google update. I've been really meaning to update on the Google case against James Damore, and there's more of this content coming, but there's been so much other stuff happening that I just haven't had time. And give me 1 second, guys. I got to open my door to my office. I'm melting. It's like 10 billion degrees. All right. Sorry about that. Very professional. Do you have any guns? If so, what types? Woo cut Friday night. Nikki get wrecked Rekieta Law stream today. Yeah, welcome, Severage. Zephael says, I was trying to tell some Wilmer farmers about you. I agree. You have little to no Google search results. How do you know Wilmer farmers? Do you have any guns? Yeah, I have a couple. I have, I have an AR. It's a SIG 516. I have a Springfield 1911, and I have a Winchester 243 hunting rifle that I got from my grandpa. Do you intend to lawsplain E3? What happened at E3? Her music is delightful. If I put my fists in my pocket, would I need a concealed carry license? Yeah, buddy. I think you're an in the closet Poppy fan. I don't get half of the stuff that they put out, but some of it, like the songs, are pretty catchy. Both hers and Marzargo, they put out some catchy music. I really will. Is it a very googly update? Yeah, this will be a googly update. Take your shirt off. No. Now it's a temperate 9 billion degrees. Okay. So here's what happened. Here's what's going on in the Google case. So, and of course the bitrate drops. Give me just a second. Google's DDoSing me, guys. I'm kidding. So Google has filed for a protective order on all of the filing documents, which means there's a temporary protective order in place. And right now, if you go onto the website for the court and try and download the First Amendment amended complaint by James Damore, you can't do it. It's private. Now, I mean, some of us have the First Amendment amended complaint, right? Like right here, First Amended Class Action Complaint. So some of us already have that, and we'll be covering that in the very near future. I want to be clear on that. That is still coming. It just takes a long time to go through, and I'll show you what I've been doing, but I haven't had time to finish yet. I'm literally highlighting every different word in the document. So that is an ongoing project, but this is a 200-page document. The other document was 100-something pages, so I have a ways to go on that. And but there will be a read-through of every amended part of the complaint, and I'll talk about what those amendments mean and stuff like that. So that is still coming, but for now, there is a temporary restraining order on those documents, so none of them are public. There is a hearing that Google has pushed back 3 times to July 13th, 2018, to see if that restraining order on the documents will stick. I am trying to find a contact that will get me the documents even through the restraining order, but I cannot get them from a party to the lawsuit, because for a party to the lawsuit to give them to me would be unlawful. So I cannot assist a person in doing something unlawful. It is against my ethical responsibility, but I'm trying to line up an anonymous source that is not a party to the lawsuit who may have access to these documents. And so if I am able to do so and get them, I will report them. And we're going to try and make this an open case, even though Google wants it shut. Why Google wants it shut? Discovery will be devastating. Any chance that it doesn't stick? Yes. What sort of, let's see. Have you seen the video where Poppy teaches how to load a gun? No. I think both their music styles are catchy too. How do I become handsome and successful like you and Keon? I have no idea. Stumble into the right place. Stumble into the right bar, not the wrong bar. My boyfriend is cute, so is Rekieta Law. Win-win for me. Thanks, Demi. What sort of horse cockery is this? Does it bother you if people use non-standard fonts? No, it doesn't bother me at all in their legal papers. I always use Times New Roman. That's just what I use. That's also, I think it's a requirement in Minnesota, so that's why I go with it. But I'm fond of Courier New ever since I took screenwriting in undergrad, and I'm a big fan of Courier New and how that lays out on the page. So Ryan Burns, any chance that it doesn't stick? Yeah, I think there's a good chance that it doesn't stick. Google, I can't see their motion. Their motion is not available, but they have the motion for the protective order, and I think that motion, for the protective order is based on the idea that they'll say that there's protected business information that will come out during discovery. And that I don't think is sufficient grounds for suppressing every document. Maybe for redacting documents and keeping the protected business information protected. Sure, that's understandable that Google would have some certain information that may come out that would be protected. But that should be only after an attorney or a judge has reviewed those documents and determined that information to be protected business information. Everything else should be public. The U.S. has a strong history of public trials, even involving very private matters and very and business matters. So, all important legal documents are written in Comic Sans. Please reconsider your selection, Rekieta Law. No, Sriracha. All important legal documents are handwritten like this one. Right here. This is a proper legal document. Right here, guys. Don't make any mistake. This is how you put together a proper legal document. Is there any truth to the claim that Landau won his law degree in a raffle? Maybe. Hamilton Berger. Yeah, I took screenwriting. Before I was a lawyer, guys, I was going to be a writer. Like that was my goal in life, was to write movies and novels and all sorts of stuff like that. Not great. Who showed you Russell Greer's thread? I actually, was this in Russell Greer's thread? Because the answer to that is Sriracha. She has introduced me to Russell Greer. And if you, if you haven't watched my video on the Taylor Swift Russell Greer lawsuit, you should check it out. I did a very, very fun live stream on that. And I am contemplating doing the rudest Russell Greer coverage I can think of in the very near future. Sriracha knows what I'm talking about, and I think it'll be hilarious. I just have to see if I can stay in my house after that. That document looks like it was written by a third grader. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I wish you could dox some of my pro se filings right now. Me too, Rafter. We got to find a way. Well, I can dox them because they're public. This is Gamer. What is this? This is Russell Greer's handwritten note to the court in his lawsuit against Taylor Swift. We're going to get to an update in that in just a minute. We're going to do that. But yeah, no, I really did a live stream on the Taylor Swift versus Russell Greer lawsuit, and I am eagerly awaiting the next filing in that lawsuit. No, don't tell me to stay on topic today, Clay. Don't do that to me. Yeah, writing is a terrible career choice. It certainly was for me because I got married prior to graduating as a writer, and we decided to stay in Minnesota. So that would have made writing very difficult. He doesn't fly, you will be fine. The lawsuit should have been written in crayon. Also, consider a novelization of the lawsuit story and make John Grisham sweat. Will you and Lady Racket sing Greer's song for us? That would be great. I have to convince her to come back on the stream. She's been a little reluctant to lately, but hopefully. Don't be too hilarious. You'll end up as Asterios' next writing partner. Oh, man. I don't know if I could take that. Wingdings is font for civilized humans. This is real. Yes. Jonah Need. Yes, this was actually filed in the U.S. District Court. So... yeah, but anyway, I'm not going to go through the First Amendment complaint. I wanted to update two things on the Google lawsuit. The hearing for the protective order, July 13th. Okay, so the hearing for the protective order is on July 13th. I will cover the result of that. And Sesame Street is coming. Nicholas Melchiori says, I demand to know when this stream started, and this is paying you in Super Chat for legal advice. This stream started at 11 p.m. Central Time. Guys, for future reference, I do a live stream every Friday at 11 p.m. Every single Friday, except I did not do one on my last vacation because I was driving and I could not get space in a hotel room after driving all day to do a live stream. That's the only reason I didn't do one. But typically every Friday we'll have a live stream of some subject. So have I ever tried 99 peaches and orange juice? I have not. If you should, it's so gold. Or if not, you should. Yeah, I will. I'll try that. That sounds like something that, that both I and Lady Rackets would enjoy. Stop using Central Time. So this is the first thing. July 13th, and I will cover the result of that as soon as it's out. Hopefully the court has the sense to say, no, you can't just protect this. You just don't want your stupid information getting out, but that's not our problem. Not good, not gold. Not good, not gold. Did I say gold? Sorry. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about in the Google lawsuit is not, I don't know if I have the document for this. I don't think I do. Let me see. Is this it? Yes, I do. I do have it. Here it is. So this is a joint stipulation. That means it's a joint agreement between the lawyers. Whereas plaintiff Arnie Wilberg, so if you don't remember, Arnie Wilberg was a recruiter for YouTube who sued Google, ABC, and YouTube in a similar suit to James Damore, but unrelated to Damore because he worked for YouTube, so he's not part of the Google class, okay? Arnie Wilberg initiated the above caption action by filing his complaint on January 29th, 2018. Plaintiff, Arnie Wilberg, and Google Incorporated entered into a mutual arbitration agreement on August 2nd, 2010. That would have been when he was hired as a part of his, his employment contract or employment agreement. There must be an arbitration agreement. And so whereas the parties have agreed that the action should be stayed in favor of arbitration. So we will likely never know the outcome of the YouTube recruiter Arnie Wilberg's lawsuit against Google because it will go to arbitration. Those tend to be confidential, protected by a non-disclosure agreement as they are privately resolved. So unfortunately, unless some enterprising journalists cover this case and cover the result, it will be decided in arbitration. We may never know how it turns out. So there's that. Sorry to make that announcement, but there's probably not going to be anything else to recover unless something happens in the arbitration that is that they could then challenge in district court, and that is unlikely at this point. I wish you were my dad, Rekieta Law. I don't know, maybe not. I might limit your iPad time. It's good, not gold, lol. Oh, I'm Buzz. Who knows what I typed? We'll give it a shot. PST is the fence sitter of time zones. Heather S. No. Nick, I got an email from a class action lawsuit regarding Google AdSense. Google AdSense stole pending payment money from everyone they suspended from their service. I'm going to get paid like $400 from it. Woo. Nice. That's fantastic. The best part would be to look up how much the lawyers for the class are getting paid for it. Because I bet it's like $48 million. Who's my favorite writer? That's a good question, man. I really like Orson Scott Card. I really like Orson Scott Card. I really like Dan Simmons. And I really like David Gemmell. Dan Abnett is awesome. But that's in the context of like 40K books. So there's that. But yeah, being the lawyer for the class is the way to go. Let's see. What else? What am I doing here? Why am I looking at books? You guys threw me off. Complain about class actions and Cypress judgments. Not today. Not today. Do I like Stephen King? Yeah, I think Stephen King gets a bad rap. So, like I said, guys, I'm a writer. I went to writing college. and took advice on how to become a writer from a bunch of people who, the vast majority of them, aren't published authors, right? They're working on a PhD or they have a PhD, but they don't actually sell books. So it's a weird system, this whole writing degree. You learn how to write from people who are largely unsuccessful at it. Some of them are good. And they have published works, but a lot of them just don't. My favorite writer is the author of the Turner Diaries. Favorite Hemingway book, go. Oh man, I'm not reading a Hemingway book right now. Have we confirmed Arab Andy was denied bail? I heard it but couldn't confirm. I can't confirm that or not. What are your thoughts on mutually non-consensual sex? We both don't want this. Gutter Drums, still doing an official review of Greer's book. Yes, I need to take the time to read it. And I just, partly my fault, partly I've been traveling a lot and I just haven't done it. But, yeah, so I was a writer, and I was a writing major. Where am I getting? Oh, yes, the Stephen King. Man, I tell you what, a bunch of college professors who can't sell books hate Stephen King because he writes non-literary fiction, right? He writes genre fiction, and genre fiction is not up to par with literary fiction. Literary fiction is superior. Except no one buys literary fiction. Everybody buys genre fiction. So Stephen King, though, gets a bad rap from professors, at least the ones that I knew, very frequently, because he's one of the best character writers out there. Like, in all honesty, that man writes fantastic characters, and he puts you in the mind of that character in a wonderful way. So, King is a good writer. Yeah, he is terrible. Wait, this is a real thing. I'll link you a Slate article. I mean, how does this happen? Stephen King is a genius. Yeah, he's good. My girlfriend has 7 boxes of unopened Girl Scout cookies, and I know if I open a box, she'll be pissed, but she hasn't had a cookie since Christmas. What do I do? Are there Thin Mints? Because if they're Thin Mints, I think you eat one of the boxes and just tell her there were only 6. Would you consider an explanation or tutorial on how to look up court filings? I know will vary depending on state jurisdiction, but a general guide will be really neat. Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Is the movie version of The Running Man better than the book? I haven't read the book for Running Man. Oh, man. Guys, if you have a penchant for Thin Mints and you maybe hate the Girl Scouts or something, or you just or it's not Girl Scout cookie season or whatever, if there's an Aldi near you, Aldi has a knockoff Thin Mint that is strikingly similar to real Thin Mints. So go to Aldi. Oh, and they're like $1.48. I hate. Can I? Do you guys mind if I digress for a second? I hate going to Aldi. I hate it. Man, I hate Aldi. I hate everything about it. I hate any store that forces me like a communist in a certain area. And in Aldi, you have like a corridor of deals that you have to go down before you can get to the rest of the store. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate that it looks like a cut rate third world country in the store. It looks awful. Stuff's just like tossed around in the cement floors. It looks like a warehouse. I hate it. I hate Aldi. Man, I love those Thin Mints. Can the Girl Scouts sue? No. No, Aldi the grocery store chain. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so someone asked what my favorite book was. And Aldi is like IKEA, right? Like I hate IKEA with a passion. Yeah. Whew. Don't like Aldi, don't like IKEA. Same reasons. Their little communist store layout. I hate it. What is this? Is it possible for two people to simultaneously sexually assault each other? Come on. Yeah, Aldi doesn't call them Thin Mints. I think they're mint chocolate cookies or something. They're really good, though. They're really good. I eat too many boxes of them. That's why I don't take my shirt off on stream. Getting fat. I'm not gonna read this article right now, Sean Thompson, but I am gonna read this article. That is fantastic. Mutually non-consensual sex. Okay, so my favorite book, since someone asked, it's actually two books, and I've mentioned them before. They're by Dan Simmons, Ilium and Olympus. And if you like Greek mythology, if you like Shakespeare, if you like classical fiction, if you like Keats, poet Keats, I think it's Keats. If you like any of that, man, you've got to read Ilium and Olympus by Dan Simmons. I cannot recommend those books enough. If you like sci-fi, you got to read it. If you like historical fiction, you got to read it. If you like Greek mythology or fantasy, read them. It's all in there. Everything you could want is in those books. They're just great. IKEA makes me rage because you have to walk through the entire thing to get anything. Yes, it's the most communist store I can think of. Clearly you are a Zen in the art of motorcycles maintenance guy. I read a physics book in the style of Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. That was interesting. What are your thoughts on Walmart then? Walmart's fine. Walmart in Mexico is terrifying. Mint Thins at Dollar General, almost the same. TLDR, drunken hookup guy woke up afraid she would report him. She'd done it before, so he went to report it to the campus before she could. Yes! Attaboy! I read Hyperion and Drood. I haven't read Hyperion. I have the whole Hyperion series, and I haven't read them yet. I love Aldi because I'm poor AF. Yeah, man. So anyway, okay. Next update, Arab Andy. Does anybody not know the Arab Andy situation? I am enthralled by this, and I want to know what's going on. It's not Girl Scouts. So the Girl Scouts are just Scouts too? Did they combine with the formerly known as Boy Scouts? Walmart sucks. They fired me after 6 years for missing work because I was in the hospital. Yeah, Walmart sucks. I'm with you on that one. That's rude, Demi. I agree. Can I sue them for that 5 years later? Probably not. Probably not. You'd have to check with a lawyer in your state. That's probably out there. How do I become a read? You pick up a book, buddy. Yeah. I should put together a Rekieta Law reading list of stuff. Because, yeah, I don't know, just for fun, in case people are interested. Heather C says, I have no idea who Arab Andy is, and neither do I. And that's my favorite part of this. Arab Andy, from what I can tell, is a small-time IRL streamer. IRL streamers are baffling to me, but they stream constantly, like every waking hour, and some of them stream every sleeping hour. You can watch them. It is a brilliant business model in a lot of ways because they're going to pick up tons of revenue for minutes watched when they've got these like 8 and 10 and 12 hour streams that people are just tuning into to sit there and watch them sleep in the hopes that something happens. I don't know. But guys like Ice Poseidon are out there doing this IRL streaming, and I'm betting they're making a fortune, okay? How does a Cub Scout become a Boy Scout? He eats his first brownie. Nice. Well done, buddy. Arab Andy. So anyways, suggest law books. I'm somewhat interested in a JD for my own selfish reasons. Most of the law books I read are just, or have read, are just awful textbooks that I mean, you'll have to read some version of them in school, but it's just some dummy's opinion on the law. Real quick, what are your thoughts on Whole Foods? I kind of like Whole Foods, mainly because I like any grocery store where I can go and get a good product. I don't care about their politics. I really don't. Like, if I can buy prime beef there, I want to buy it. If their produce is good, I want it. And if they have a good variety of produce and other products, that's what I want. I'd watch you sleep IRL. That's, ooh. A lot of them make a lot of money, but Ice Poseidon has some sort of weird recruiting routine he does where he has a bunch of other nobodies around. He pulls in a ton, though. Yeah. So anyway, so IRL streamers stream constantly, all the time. Like every aspect of their life, and people watch them because, people are just interested in all sorts of things. And if they find a character or a personality that they like, they're gonna want to watch what they do. So Arab Andy is a guy who's a small-time streamer, from what I can tell, compared to guys like Ice Poseidon. I have no idea. I guess I could try and find out, is he on YouTube? And guys, if you haven't watched the Encyclopedia Dramatica or Easy Peasy video, My 600-Pound Life, but with tuba music, if you haven't watched that, you need to. It helps me get through the day. Arab Andy. So Arab Andy, okay, so his channel is, according to the YouTube search, was 6,300 subscribers, but it's actually 7,100 subscribers. So it looks like this latest incident got him almost 1,000 subscribers in the past couple days. So he's doing very well. Ice Poseidon is where that crazy B word came from, talking about putting colloidal silver on her vag. Yeah. So yeah, go to Easy Peasy. Like, I'm gonna link it because like it's just perfect. Here you go. There you go. It's in the chat. You gotta watch it for a few minutes at least. It's really refreshing. So anyway, I only saw it because it was up on my search results when I went to YouTube to search for Arab Andy. So Arab Andy was 6,300 subscribers, so his channel was about the size, a little bit bigger than mine, but not much. Now it's growing pretty substantially. If you don't know what happened, he was at a school, from what I can tell. My disability attorney is appealing against federal court after 3 appeals. What are my chances? I have no idea. I'd have to look at the case. Hopefully you got a good attorney, though. So Arab Andy's at a school, and he has text-to-speech activated. So when someone pays money to his stream and they type out a comment, a text-to-speech piece of software, says what's happening. It says it to the stream, and you can have it say it out loud. In this case, it did broadcast what was typed in out loud. And what was typed in by a guy named Lebanese Andy said, bomb detonation activated. Okay? Okay, so Ice Poseidon is on YouTube. Arab Andy is on YouTube. Arab Andy is a fan of Ice's from Seattle that met him about a month ago and started streaming himself in the past month. Okay. Pseudo memes, yeah. I did think there needed to be more tuba music, personally, and maybe like more boisterous tuba music and maybe more ironic tuba music. Like it needed an Asterios Kokonos tuba music, but even so, I was dying. And you gotta, like, the doctor's face when these fat people tell the doctor that he's wrong about their fatness. Gosh, I'm dying. I'm dying every time. Whew. So, yeah, Lebanese Andy donates $3 or something. He donates some money, and it says bomb detonation activated in a school, and the school, like, people hear it and go nuts. They panic. They flee the building. The building's like bomb siren goes off because or their fire alarm or something. Someone pulls it, and everybody rushes out. Arab Andy goes out, and he gets arrested. They do text-to-speech and then a higher tier with a sound clip tacked on. So they had the sound of a bomb beeping after the text-to-speech telling everyone, I have a bomb. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Like, it's just wild. So then, can we get that YouTube link in the Nick Rekieta Facebook Appreciation Army group page? Yeah, of course. Pause the stream for 7 minutes so we can all watch it. No, you got to watch it later. Ice Poseidon's name shows up everywhere you go because he's like apparently I'd never heard of him until Medicare was ruining Baked Alaska's life on Ice Poseidon's stream the other day. But I'd never heard of him, but a like wildly popular IRL streamer. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Like I can't sit and watch 12 hours of people doing stuff, and I don't have any desire to tune into their regular life. But no problem with other people who do. But anyway, so, but it's just not for me. So Arab Andy, like, clears out of school, goes out, gets arrested, streams his arrest. I can maybe find the tweet about it. Oh, no. Gentleman Sausage, if you're still in here. Yeah, the regular Google results look fine. Click on the video section of that tab when you do it. And then you'll see what's going on. Let me see my results. If I can find this Arab Andy thing real quick. Okay, I got it. I'm gonna see if I can get this video. I'm going to pull this up for you guys on OBS here. Hold on. What? Why won't it let me interact? Oh, here we go. Well, I'll start this over in just a second. So here we go. Let me, make this a little bigger. Okay. Yeah, Gentleman Sausage. Yeah, it shows my channel, the other video, and then a bunch of my videos. Now go do that same thing on Bing, and you'll see the difference, and why I think that maybe, just maybe, Google is dragging my results a little bit. Whole selling point is that the viewers try to make a scene with the IRL streamer like this. Gotcha. Have you ever seen the Buddhism Hotline on YouTube? It's the most hilarious stuff I've ever seen. No, I have not. Okay, so here is the clip of what happened. So let's watch this real quick. This was on Twitter. The guy who posted it was Nick Monroe, and yeah, and then someone tagged me in it. So, oh. Hold on, let me go back. Sorry. I'm hoping you guys can hear the audio. So, yeah, good job. Very low. It must be coming through my mic. I'm not sure. Okay, so if the audio's not coming through, sorry about that. I don't know where it is, and I don't really care to like go through the whole thing. It doesn't matter. The next step of it, so the bomb detonation thing happens. You saw it clear out the room. There's like a siren that goes off, and then the guy goes outside. He gets arrested. And that's the story so far. So I am fascinated with this because this is a huge problem. Okay. This is a huge legal problem. The legal problem is that we certainly cannot have this. We certainly cannot have this type of activity where some sort of bomb threat gets called in. Not really. It's not a bomb threat. Like, make no mistake. I don't think this is a bomb threat, but where some sort of audio causes mass panics and people like run out and flee, and we have to evacuate buildings. If you think about like what this would look like in a stadium at a sold out football game or something, you have the potential for hundreds of people being trampled to death. Very, very, very dangerous. On the other hand, Arab Andy didn't do this. Like, he didn't cause the person to type this thing, as far as I know. I mean, maybe he said, hey, someone send in a bomb threat. But as far as I know, he didn't cause this. So I can't figure out what crime he actually would have committed. So then the next problem is Twitch or whatever stream providers should filter out words like bomb, etc. No, I don't. And this is where the dilemma comes in. I don't know how to resolve this. I don't know how to resolve this in the United States, because you can't tell people with the force of law to not stream. If he's in a school, I imagine they already have like a no device or no streaming policy for the most part. So what's the answer? He better be careful, though. The authorities will get creative and go all Patriot Act on him. Yeah. He had the equipment. Yeah, he had the equipment, but like there's lots of equipment that can cause a mass panic, but if the person doesn't do something with it to cause that mass panic, that's not really their fault. I know how to resolve this. Guantanamo. Waterboarding. But yeah, so the reason I'm fascinated with this is because our law about all this stuff is written, 200 years ago. We have constitutional protections for speech that are written back in the 1700s. We have all sorts of law about, what's not protected. And they say yelling fire in a crowded theater is not protected, though that's arguable. But even taking that argument, that's 200 years old, and no one yelled fire in a crowded theater. What do we do when the person who is the most responsible for what happened, which is Arab Andy, he's the most responsible because he has a device that is streaming, that has the text-to-speech, and is capable of broadcasting sound to the local area. He's the most responsible party, but he is not responsible. Like, so what do we do in that? Our law is not built to consider this scenario. So I don't know what happens next. I am trying to line up an interview with Arab Andy and find out what's going on with his case, what the cops have said, all of that stuff. Yeah, so more to come on that. If you're interested in this case, keep watching, because I will be following this, because I want to know. I want to know what happens. Let's see. So Dr. Richard R. Ape says, the globalists have forced us to take this forced immigration. We need to do something about it. Save State Corrupted said, isn't yelling things to cause chaos in public not protected in the Constitution? That is a popular adage. It's a popular adage that yelling fire in a crowded theater is not protected speech. And I think that line is what's called dicta from a First Amendment case. I don't know the case. I can try and find it at some point. But Needless to say, it's not actually controlling language. It's dicta. It's a hypothetical scenario that didn't happen. They didn't actually rule on that. Yelling fire in a crowded theater might be protected speech under the Constitution. A judge hypothetically threw out a scenario that he thought would not be protected. But there is not actually case law necessarily supporting that. If I yell bomb on a plane, do they take me away? Yes. Probably. Is there really any case law where someone did yell fire in a crowded theater? I think they would get kicked out. I think they would too. But the question is, would they get arrested? And I don't know that they could be arrested for that. If he loses, I'm suing CNN for causing mass panic with all the BS propaganda. Yeah, real talk. I fully blame CNN for the death of my grandfather, and a lot of suffering that he had before that. They went from being people who seemed to be joyful to people who had CNN on in their house literally 24 hours a day, and started questioning everything about everything in ways that was ridiculous, and started thinking that the world was the worst place to possibly live in. All of the world, and especially America. So, why was he live streaming in a school with a device that can emit paid phrases? He's dumb if nothing else. Yeah, absolutely. Like, that might be the case, but I'm not sure if that's criminal, and that's the question here. Schenck versus U.S. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. I read a lot of Popat. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for having that citation, Andy. Someday maybe I'll cover Schenck, but I'm pretty sure that was a dicta line in Schenck. Would he be liable for allowing the sort of inciting comments? Like, how do you block it? These streamers have built up a reputation for platforming these kinds of comments as of late, but how do you block it? Like, even if you platform the comment, how do you stop someone from doing that? If you have a thing that has text to speech and it just goes through. My understanding is they type in the comment and they pay the money and it goes through, and you don't have some sort of pre-approval. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But that's why I want to know more about this. Like, I want to know what legal criminal theory they would do for a criminal prosecution, and then I want to see how we fight it, because I don't think criminal prosecutions are proper, but in this type of situation. But I'm just fascinated. I'm blown away by the whole thing. I found this gem in the law. It shall not be a defense to any prosecution under the section that the threat and bombing or injury was a hoax. Right, and that's fine, but he didn't make the threat. So that's the real issue. Let's see. What happens if someone yells rape while they are masturbating? Hopefully it doesn't get them there faster, because that's a little disturbing, but maybe that's their fetish. Sensationalist media is fake news. Isn't there a required duty of care in operating a streaming business which will lead to at least some sort of negligence charge? Maybe a civil negligence charge, but I don't think they would be criminally negligent. Maybe though. I mean, and that's, like I said, I don't know the legal theory that they're going to pursue if they pursue criminal charges. I think they're proper to arrest him. Let me be clear. I think in this scenario, I'm trying to meld situation and scenario together. In this scenario, the arrest was probably proper. I don't know that a charge of a crime is a proper thing. Even with blocked words, weird spellings still go through, right? Listening to any news outlet for an extended period of time is poisonous. Just being around other people with it all the time, I feel like it can make you neurotic with what they talk about. Yes, absolutely. And that's why I try not to talk about mainstream news, if you'll notice. Like, real talk for a minute, getting intimate here. I think we've gone to this place where we as a society have determined that we all have this like collective duty to affect everything at the highest levels. You see this stuff with like, with the racism screams from the left, or feminism or whatever. Like, we're supposed to, as individuals, solve the world's problems collectively. Like, that's our job. And it's not. It's not. It's not our jobs. Like, solving world problems is good, but it's not every individual's job to collectively solve the ills that someone perceives. And I'm not saying these ills aren't real, but some of them are real. Some of them are more real than others. It doesn't matter. It's not our jobs to do this collectively. Your job, at least in my opinion, this is one idiot's opinion. This is not my field of study or anything, but this is what I've done with my life recently, is to find out how I can be, rather than trying to fix the world, find out how I can be impactful and excellent in my sphere of influence. And I mean that in my local community, my family, my friends, my people who are around me. How do I help them with their stuff? And I think we need to get back to that, because it's not the duty of someone in North Dakota to fix the ills of someone who's racially oppressed in California. It's just not. That's not feasible. Our technology allows us to have more influence in these things, but it's not the purpose of what we do. It hasn't been ever until now even possible. And for us to assume that it's suddenly a duty of everyone to engage in this stuff, it's just not. It will take years for us as a society to adapt to the reality that we can influence the entire world. Focus on yourself, because if you're trying to influence the whole world, you're going to get depressed because you're going to fail constantly, or you're going to make your life into a meme of like Trigglypuff or whatever shrieking at Steven Crowder. Just be good to those people that you have an actual impact on, and you'll find more joy in life, at least in my experience. Let's see. He didn't make the threat, but he makes his money having people embarrass him in public. It's his fault. Maybe that's the scenario. I'm not sure. Like I said, we'll be following it. Conjoined twins, rape or sexual assault charges. Wait, what? I'm not sure what that means. Rekieta Law raped us. He got into deep intimacy without permission first. Getting all Jordan Peterson on us. I guess, if that's something Jordan Peterson says, it just seems like sound advice. Long-time watcher, first time I'm up for a live stream. Love your channel. Thanks, Ian Sterling. I appreciate it, buddy. Does Andy have any duty to warn people that this wasn't real? I mean, I think that'll be his defense, is that it wasn't real. I don't know how he would warn them in advance. But again, I'm not going to claim to be, and Clay, thank you for catching my fantastic movie reference. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the situation. All I've seen really is that very short clip. I don't know, maybe watching his live stream, you would find out that he incited or induced that sort of comment for the purpose of causing a ruckus and causing panic. That could definitely lead to his guilt in some sort of theory, but I just don't know. The Juice have been trying to destroy the family unit since the turn of the last century. The Juice. Okay. And this is why we need to bring back prayer in schools, right? I think the only problem is banning prayer in schools. Like, if kids want to pray in schools, let them pray. I mean, warn people since he presumably knew it wasn't real. Yeah, the question is when he would have done it. And maybe he has a duty. It's just, I just don't know enough about the scenario. So, long story short on the Arab Andy stuff, I am really anxious, to talk to Arab Andy. Hopefully I'll be able to do it either live or, in a good recorded video and publish it for you guys. If it's a recorded video, I will submit on various channels or whatever, requests for any questions. So if you guys have any questions about it, but I want to know what's going on. I think it's a fascinating scenario, and I want to know what's happening with it. I have made contact with his manager and told him given my request. So I'm just waiting for a response. And when I say I've made contact with his manager, I have actually communicated with his manager, and then I have, since that communication, sent my response, which includes what I would like to do. in regards to an interview. So now I'm just waiting for his response back to my stuff. So hopefully that will happen soon. Which is about a group encouraging people. Oh, Fire in a Crowded Theater is Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. and I think Schenck versus United States. Yes, someone mentioned that. Gentleman Sausage mentioned that a little bit ago. About a group encouraging people to avoid the draft. Could be wrong. What is your stance on the JQ? What is the JQ? With the conjoined twins, I was just thinking of all the legal issues they could get into with consent, being between each other or with other people. Right, yeah, I don't even know. That's a good question. I don't think any court wants to find that out. I did some research. No joke. Arab Andy is autistic and hasn't been taking his medication for a few years. You might as well talk to a bag of sand. That would be great. I'll talk to a bag of sand. Thanks. I also find this an interesting situation. All right. So that's Arab Andy. Let's move on. What else do I got? Sesame Street. Right? So I need, let me give some background. There's an R-rated, a quote, hard R-rated puppet movie coming out. It's called Happy Time Murders. It's put out by STX Entertainment. Oh, does the juice run the world? I mean, no, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. And the question would be, like, if Jews run the world, did they achieve it through an improper purpose or through an improper means, or were they just better at running things? So I don't know. I'm not in on the whole like Jewish conspiracy. I don't want to degrade it. I think there's a lot of credibility to some of the stuff, but I'm just not sure that the accusations and the reasons for them are necessarily the reasons that they occurred, or if it was just a logical outcome. But okay, so the puppet movie is supposedly, Happy Time Murders. It's a, quote, hard R puppet movie, which will be interesting. I'm a Jew and I don't run the world. And Beyonce told us who runs the world. I'm heading to bed. See you next stream or at the Polish festival. Yeah, absolutely, Safe State. If you can make it, contact me, buddy, if you have any possibility of making it, and I'll make sure we meet up. Improper means. Let's see. Just popped in now. We're talking about the JQ. Yeah, I mean, these streams go wherever, right? Every time I hear the juice, I think O.J. Simpson. Me too. That's what I was thinking. Nick Zion, you mean Bion, right? So JQ equals an antitrust matter. Hey, thanks, Raphael, for the super chat donation. Well, okay, so Beverly, the credible part that I'm talking about is you can point to instances where there are lots of Jewish people in certain positions. Particularly, like one of the critiques is that media is run by largely Jewish people in high level positions. Okay, assuming that's true, that's the credible thing I'm talking about. It's like you can point to these people who are Jewish and who are in these positions. That doesn't mean that it's not okay for them to be there. It doesn't mean that they got there by some sort of improper means. So I don't. That's what I'm talking about by the credible part. For example, there are lots of Jewish lawyers in New York, and there are some interesting reasons for it. If you read Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers, he partly explains why there's so many Jewish lawyers in New York who are very high profile, and how Jewish people in New York came to that prominence, which is it's an interesting story. So anyway, I just don't have an opinion on it. And this is part of what I was talking about earlier. Like, even, is this something you can affect? Is this something that you need to worry about and affect? Maybe you think it is, maybe not. I don't know. For me, it's not. For me, I'm more worried about like affecting the person next to me in some sort of way. Let's see. For the record, Israel IQ is 93, less than the US. Okay. I used to feed wild animals at a house I rented despite the rental company. The wild animals, raccoons and squirrels, would charge the back door in expectation of treats 9 years ago. Is that long enough for any sort of statute of limitations to run out so I can share the story in pictures? Should be. Should be. I imagine the statute of whatever you might be liable for would be 6 years at the longest. But I don't actually know. I'm not sure what you did is actionable. Because even if you're spiting the rental company, I'm not sure that that's particularly illegal. Anyway, I got to get back to this. Now I need Clay to tell me to focus. Now I need Clay. Yeah. So Sesame Street sued Happy Time Murders. Let's see. Because in the trailer for the Happy Time Murders, they use the tagline, "No Sesame, all street." Okay, that's the whole thing. Is it even possible for a puppet to give/deny consent before you put your hand inside its butt? No. You got told not to last time. Not told not to what? What are you even talking about, Clay? Clay, are you drinking too much right now? Okay, so I'm trying to find the document for it real quick. Because I don't know if you guys are interested in this or not. Yeah, I know I told you not to keep me on track earlier, but now I need you to. I would like to read to you the Happy Time Murders complaint from Sesame Street, or at least their statement in Elmo's voice. I don't know if you guys are interested in that. Let me know in the chat while I look for the documents. If you would like to see me do Elmo's voice on the Sesame Street thing. Because I thought it'd be funny, but I could be completely wrong on that. Okay. So, hit by a lawsuit. I hate these publications. Just put the flipping lawsuit. Just put the flipping lawsuit in your story if you're going to quote it. Like, put the document out there. I'm almost there. Maybe. Let's see. It's filed in New York. Filed in federal court in New York. Federal court? Let's see. Okay. Give me just a second to pull up Pacer. I think I can find the document real quick. So let's see. Happy Time Murders stars Melissa McCarthy, so it is probably just a crappy SJW Puppet Ghostbusters remake. Probably. I think that is likely the case. I have no particular desire to defend Happy Time Murders. From what I understand, Brian Henson is the son of Jem Henson, is involved in the production of Happy Time Murders. So, and he's a creator. Well, Jem Henson was, of course, the creator of Sesame Street. Let's see. So, Party Search. Sesame Street. See if that works. No, these are all old. Party Search. STX. Oh my goodness. Date filed. Here it is. Ha! I found it. Somehow. If you guys saw that list, you would not believe that I actually found this. History documents. All right. So complaint. 25 pages. 25 pages. Where are we? I paid for these pages. Bring them up. Give me just a minute. Where's my... Where'd it go? View document. Are you kidding? Give me just a second, guys. I'm trying to get this to load up anything. Hold on. Hold on. I hate when you pay for something and you don't actually get the document because the government is stupid. Oops. I know this is riveting television for you guys. Okay, here we go. It's been a real slice, but it's 2 a.m. here in civilized time zone, so it's off to bed later. See you later, Hamilton Burger. See you later, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to try and get this stupid complaint pulled up. Here we go. Here we go. Let me save this. All right. So guys, let me pull this up for you. We'll see. This is 25 pages. I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing. Let me see what we've got. I'm going to see if I can pick the grossest paragraph in here real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry. I gotta stop reading. Sesame Street was created in 1969 to give all children access to early education. It was a revolutionary idea to use television as a medium to reach kids at scale with important lessons ranging from academic basics to life skills like kindness and inclusion. Is kindness and inclusion a life skill? I don't know if I agree with that. The most electrifying move in sports entertainment. The Spinneroonie. Elmo was in a Serbian film. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Big Bird produced Men Under the Sun. Is it true? Elmo's starting a Clockwork Orange. Sure. I have no idea. Okay. Let me get into Elmo mode.
Hi. Hi, guys. I'm Elmo. Let's talk about Happy Time Murders. Happy Time Murders is not okay. Not with Elmo. Not okay at all.
Tell me if you guys can bear this, because I don't want to kill you. My kids love Elmo. So my Elmo voice. They don't actually care about Elmo at all. So I told you guys that I have that this is my secret impression that I'm oddly good at it. So
let's talk about Happy Time. Okay. The trailer is restricted, meaning that the Motion Picture Association of America has not deemed it suitable for all audiences. And it's easy to see why. Scenes from the movie shown in the trailer depict repeated foul language by humans and puppets, drug use by humans and puppet prostitutes offering sexual favors to a human, gun and other types of violence, and puppet sex that culminates in a scene.
Sorry.
Puppet sex that culminates in a scene where a puppet is depicted copiously ejaculating for an extended period. Oh no! No! It's not okay. Not okay for Elmo to watch ejaculation. Copious ejaculation. The leading online movie ticket seller, Fandango, referred to it as filthy and depraved.
Guys. Okay. Sorry. I was hoping that this case would go on because, I mean, it seemed like gold. It seemed like gold. But in the end, this case has been dismissed voluntarily by Sesame Street Incorporated. They made a move for a temporary restraining order on the marketing. So the issue in question, the legal issue in question, was this line right here. No Sesame, all street. No Sesame, all street. They said that this caused brand confusion and would tarnish the brand of Sesame Street Workshop, which they have built for 50 years, you know, working to cultivate this particular brand that was friendly to children. They said this caused brand confusion and would tarnish that. They got BTFO'd by the judge, who said, you dummies failed to actually demonstrate any brand confusion from any person. You didn't bring in a single person who said, yeah, I watched that video and I thought that that was actually Sesame Street. So, yeah. So they got BTFO'd on the temporary restraining order. When they found out that they had lost that, there was no purpose to carry on the case, so they withdrew the case. It is over. The marketing is fine and can continue. STX has had their puppet lawyer make statements on it, which is probably funny, but I haven't actually watched it. Brand confusion. Oh, wait, I remember Big Bird taking a dump on Grover's chest while he was copiously ejaculating. That was in episode 42. Shifting gears here, but do you think Patreon would be a better platform if people could customize the amount that they donate? They can customize the amount they donate. Anyway. So yeah. That's the lawsuit. Man, guys, I was hoping that would go on, because if you're gonna do it, right, like what Sesame Street should do now is launch a counter marketing campaign with their Muppets making statements against the movie. Like that, to me, that sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. So, yeah. Grug, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I mean, the judge, he might have been more lenient to Sesame Street if they had gotten some affidavits or some statements from people who said, you know, I saw this and I thought it was definitely Sesame Street, but they didn't bring in any. And that's a huge problem. If you're going to say that this line, and because it's really this line and the fact that there are puppets, that makes it questionable. Because Avenue Q, I don't know if you guys know this, but Avenue Q is an off-Broadway show that uses puppets and is very adult-themed rather than kid-oriented. It involves all sorts of things like sex and swearing and homosexuality and stuff like that. And when it came out especially, it was very, 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 avant-garde or whatever. And I did get a chance to see Avenue Q at a local theater, and it was funny, good show. But yeah, there was the fact that there are Muppets doesn't mean, like, Sesame Street can't own the idea of using Muppets. They just can't do that. And so the brand confusion has to be pronounced. People have to associate what's going on with Sesame Street Workshop's trademarks. Like, they have to do that, and if they're not doing that in a very clear way, then you're just not going to win. Barkley attacked someone. Anyone know a dog bite lawyer? Barkley being your dog? No, I don't know a good dog bite lawyer, we'll say. But yeah, Disney owned the copyright on all puppets. But anyway, so that is Sesame Street. I've been wanting to do a video entirely in Elmo impression, going through some of this lawsuit. So look for that in the future. You guys have gotten the first taste of that. I don't want to read the whole complaint because my voice will die. But I would like to read some of the funnier parts of it, and stuff like that. So that video will probably come out in the near future if I can get around to it. But you guys get the first view of it. So there you go. The last thing I want to talk about tonight, because it is getting about time to wrap up. Yeah, we're not going to go. I'm not going to look at that anymore. Wait. I completely missed one of the things I was going to talk about because I made the joke. There is an update in the Taylor Swift versus Russell Greer lawsuit, and that's why I brought up this letter earlier. Here's the receipt. So he has filed. So Russell Greer filed suit against Taylor Swift, and he requested something called. He requested to proceed in forma pauperis, and I think I talked about this on the Russell Greer stream. But in forma pauperis means you don't have to pay the filing fees to the court. You don't have to pay any, or either any fees to the court, or you get a reduced fee schedule based on your reduced income. So, so he filed it, and he said, I don't make enough money to afford this, but you have a right to pursue your legal, you have the right to pursue a legal remedy, even if you can't afford it. But you have to prove that you can't afford it, and a judge has to approve that. The judge denied Russell Greer's in forma pauperis petition. So he had to pay the civil filing fee in federal court, which is $400. He has done that. That's what this letter says. Dear court clerk, even though it was written by a toddler, please find enclosed my cashier's check for the amount of $400. The amount is for my case's filing fee. I had originally filed an application to waive the filing fees, but it was denied. My case is Greer v. Swift, case number 3:18-CV-0394. Thank you, Russell Greer. russmark@gmail.com. Good job putting your email address and phone number on this filing, Russell. Don't contact Russell Greer. But it is there. So the receipt, they did receive it. And then there is an actual update in this. The update is that there's an order here. Following the denial of his application proceed in forma pauperis, plaintiff Russell Greer has now paid the full $400 filing fee. This action is referred to the magistrate judge to oversee service of process, to enter a scheduling order for the management of the case, to dispose of recommended disposition of any pretrial motions under 28 U.S.C. 636 B1A and B, and to conduct further proceedings, if necessary, under Rule 72B of the Rules of Civil Procedure and the local rules of court. Plaintiff is notified that he is responsible for effecting service of process on the defendant in accordance with the federal rules of civil procedure. In addition, he must keep the court informed at all times of his current address. Failure to do so may result in dismissal of the action for failure to prosecute. It is so ordered. So this means that a judge has referred all of the pretrial stuff, the administrative stuff, the paper filings that go back and forth, and the management of the timeliness of those filings to a magistrate. A magistrate is not quite a judge, but they have very similar functions. Magistrates handle very specific aspects of lawsuits. For example, there are family law magistrates, not here, obviously. This is a family law magistrate in certain counties who only deals with child support issues. So if you have a child support issue, the magistrate will hear that, and they're unable to hear anything outside of that. It's just outside of their role. And then there are other magistrates who only hear child protection issues. So if you try to bring in, for example, a child support issue to that family law magistrate who only does child protection, they'll say, we can't hear the support issue, we can only hear the protection issue. That's what we're limited to. So they have sort of a specialty in what they do. So this magistrate judge handles the pretrial stuff, which will be the motion practice back and forth. There's going to be a motion to dismiss from Taylor Swift, like there just is. It'll be a 12B6 motion to dismiss. 99.9% chance that's coming. They will, they'll ask for it to be dismissed with prejudice, failure to state a claim that relief can be granted on. They're going to ask for their attorney's fees against him for filing frivolous lawsuits, and maybe ask the court to issue a protective order against them. But that's all going to happen. Do we need to consent to tickle Elmo? No, you don't. That is clear. Elmo is inviting the tickles constantly. So that's what's going on in the Taylor Swift case, and I will be following this. Russell has to serve Taylor Swift. He has to request a summons from the court. He has to then serve it. Same with like how the Poppy and Mars Argo thing is going. He will have to request that summons. Once the summons is issued, he will have to serve it upon them. He'll have an amount of time to do that, probably 90 days, and then Taylor Swift will respond. So that is where we are in the Taylor Swift versus Russell Greer case. I am working on an extremely offensive to Russell Greer idea that I talked to with Sriracha earlier, and I hope that I can do that. But it might be Patreon restricted. I don't know. I don't like to do that, but it might be. Is Oscar a public figure? The Grouch? Absolutely not. Oscar the Grouch is, he's my favorite Muppet. And no, he is clearly not a public figure. That's the most private man on the planet. Are you kidding me? Okay, so finally, now that we've dealt with Taylor Swift, Russell is trying to get her attorney to agree to non-service. I'm sure her attorney is fully going to help Russell cooperate in every way. Don't worry, Demi. I don't know that... I have to just decide on what to do with this. It's a moral dilemma. Because I don't like... I mean, I really, really do like making fun of people, but I don't like to do it publicly. But we'll see. We'll see about that. Oh, excuse me. All right, final thing. final thing for the night, CM Punk, the CM Punk lawsuit was just brought to my attention. It was brought in like 2015. It's been just waiting, and some testimony has happened today, and it's in progress right now. So I'm going to be looking to the CM Punk lawsuit. So if you are a wrestling fan and you're interested in that, if you have information about it, send it to me. Like, that will help me put together a good video about CM Punk and the legal issues involved. I'm going to be blatantly honest. I know very, very little about it. So I've just taken a preliminary look, but some of the stuff looks funny. And CM Punk is a character, if nothing else. And so, the status of him as a character will likely make some good content. So I'm very interested in doing it. Do you know? Well, CM Punk, real MMA fighter. Lucifer Love Monkey, what? CM, what? Oh, excuse me. The basic gist of the CM Punk thing is that CM Punk and a podcaster who podcasts about whatchamacallit, wrestling, professional wrestling. They had a discussion back in like 2014. And in that discussion, CM Punk makes statements about a doctor who treated him. And those statements basically state that the doctor was incompetent or engaged in malpractice, stuff like that. Blame the doctor for some of his health issues and things. And so the doctor has filed a defamation lawsuit against CM Punk. And that will be interesting because CM Punk is a public figure. The doctor is presumably not a public figure. And so that kind of changes the calculus. CM Punk has a platform to really go after this guy, and the doctor doesn't have a platform to defend himself. And that's not necessarily part of the legal analysis, but it is part of the human analysis that will go into a judge or jury determining this. So I will be covering it most likely, but if you've got stuff, if you're interested in that case, send me links to relevant stuff or send me questions about the case that will help me craft the kind of content that you want, because it's outside of my radar, right? It's outside of my scope of my sphere. Oh, the Stone Cold reference. I used to watch wrestling back in high school just a little bit and laughed at it. I loved it. It was funny, but I was never a big fan. Ooh. I saw Stone Cold pour beer all over some chick, and that was pretty funny. Can never do that again, I'm pretty sure. I will send you the link to the podcast that started this. Yeah, do so. Yeah. So that's the CM Punk thing. I'll be talking about it upcoming. I think that'll produce some good stuff. There's been no movement, to my knowledge, on diversity in comics. If you're here from the comic stuff, from the legal perspective, there's been no movement yet. But I am watching for anything like that. If there's some legal stuff that pops up, tweet to me or whatever, but know that I'll be covering it as soon as I see it. Other than that, guys, I think we're about done. It's been a wonderful 2.5 hours. I'm yawning way too much to carry on. I really, really, really want to do some Twitch streaming, but I am dying lately. I can see you spilling a beer on a chick. Yeah, I would sooner spill it than drink it. I'm not a big beer fan. So it started where the WWE doctor failed to diagnose a staph infection on purpose. Yeah. But yes, I will be covering this. If you focus on and press these Ice Poseidon stories, you will get a ton of live viewers. Yeah, and that is of course part of the strategy for how I pick cases. Is I do want it, like, I was covering a bunch of different stuff early on, like Trump stuff, and oddly, like, I thought Trump stuff would be popular. Most people didn't want to hear about that type of stuff, so I do. Part of the show is growing the channel, so I want to do videos that will bring in more people, but I also want to cover things that that you guys want to see. So, if you want stuff covered, especially if there's overlap with other audiences, happy to look into it. But I also, like I said, I don't want to just do videos that I think are going to bring in new people. So whatever you guys got, always talk to me and send it to me. I love to interact with you guys. I really do. And I try to do it as much as I can without making Lady Raggets too mad that I'm all day on my phone. So can you do a mini video on the guy who got arrested for the bomb threat over TTS? Yeah, Felix, I want to do a mini video and I want to do a big video. I want to actually interview. That's Arab Andy. I'm talking with his manager to figure out how we can put something together. So I wish you were my lawyer. Well, if you got in trouble in Minnesota, then, I could be. But ever thought about covering the Justine Damon case? Justine Damon. Oh, that's the chick who got shot by the Somali officer in Minnesota, right? Yes, I have thought about that. Has he been tried yet? Or his trial's coming up, isn't it? Vids have genuinely become the highlight of my week. Love you, sport. Love you too, Clay. Love you too. So far, you're succeeding at your probationary mod position. Probably much to Tess's chagrin, but I think you two are an excellent foil in the mod ship. I watched part of the Ralph retort, and I want to watch the rest of it. When I heard about it, it was in the processing state, so only 2 hours were available, and I did not have a full and I couldn't listen to all of it then, but I'm going to try and listen to it. It's such a long stream, so I don't know. Is the manager you're talking to Brent Caskell? I don't know. The person I'm talking to was actually on the Arab Andy Twitter account. So whoever was running his Twitter account is the person I'm talking to. So we'll see how that turns out. What's my realistic dream car? I don't know how you define realistic, but man, I would love an Audi, an R8. God, those are sweet. But Ford Pinto. Guys, I drive a giant van. I got all these kids. Just drove to Florida. My favorite states to drive through right now are Georgia, Kentucky, and Tennessee because everybody was doing 95 miles an hour. No, I do not drive a minivan, buddy. I drive a full-size Nissan NV 3500, 12-passenger van. The minivan was no longer big enough for the family, so yeah. It's a beast. It's a V8, and it I will say that in some states I was up over 100 miles an hour driving home from Florida. No, it does not have automatic sliding doors. When are you going to upgrade to a bus? We just upgraded to this. This is a 2017 Nissan van. So under 75,000 dream car. Probably like a Hellcat. Like I like the Dodge, the Charger Hellcat. That thing's pretty sweet. Or the Demon. Right now, I guess that's it. But I actually really always wanted an Infiniti, the 2-door Infiniti Coupe. That thing was nice too. That's not, and that wasn't an unreasonable car. It's only like 40 grand. So go fund me for a school bus. Whereabouts in Florida? I live in South Florida. We went to Lego. My parents brought my whole family to Legoland. So that was Winter Haven, Florida. Sweet and sour pork. I think it was the G37. Technically, is the 2-door coupe version. What makes me a rage? Man, right now, what makes me a rage is that I have these ongoing criminal cases, and the state missed the filing deadline. We had to file supplemental briefs after having oral argument, and the state missed the filing deadline by a day. And I objected to the court's acceptance of their brief, but the court did accept it, even though they were a day late. But I get a chance to respond. But I'm a little pissed off that the court accepted it, because I have a feeling if I had submitted my brief a day late, the court would not have accepted it, and that makes me a rage. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the NV is pretty comfy to drive. I will say after like 20 hours, my legs started to get sore, but that might have been my fault not moving enough and not getting out. Oh man, I just wanted to get home. G37 was a successor to the G35, basically the same car but slightly bigger engine. Yeah, that's the one I want with the bigger engine. Felix, I fully agree, and that was my argument in my objection, that the prosecution has to be held to the rules. They have to, but at least I get a chance to respond. It was a simultaneous motion filing, so we each were supposed to file on the same day, so there wouldn't be like a responsive or not a motion but briefs, so simultaneous briefs. And there would not be a response brief. Like, you couldn't respond to their argument because you're filing just your own argument. But now I do get the chance to respond and talk about all the places where they blatantly told untruths, which pisses me off. Remember it as precedence if you file late with that judge. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. If I will carry that to my grave. I'm going to sue you if we don't get another super chat drink before the stream ends, Rekieta Law. But it's not my fault. I can't super chat myself. Can a vehicle consent? No. No. So don't rape the exhaust pipe. Why don't you fly? So Jason, the logistics of flying with 5 children are this. The flying's not so bad. Tickets do cost a fortune. The worst part, though, is really when you land and you need to get a car that seats 5 kids in various levels of car seat. Hey, thanks, Lucifer Love Monkey. Now I gotta I'll pour little Maker's Marks. But it's trying to arrange having 5 car seats in a vehicle big enough to hold 5 car seats from a rental car place. It ends up costing a fortune, and it's really hard to do. So that's why we typically don't fly. The kids are pretty good on planes when we do have to fly. Like, we've taken some of them to Hawaii and stuff like that. You're getting that podcast interview for me. Yeah. Can you send it to me in email or something else? As my name implies, I've driven many vehicles. NV is top 3 for comfortable delivery vehicles. Trust me, appreciate it. Yeah, I trust you. I trust you. I think it was mostly me just not moving and driving the entire way. The one complaint I have about the NV, the only complaint really, is that it, I don't know if you have experienced this, but the dashboard gets squeaky. I don't know, like the plastic pieces don't fit together just right, and so they'll get squeaky, and you have to like squeeze them and rearrange them. Take you to Hawaii. Solid Snake, I will say my kids are actually very good on airplanes. I give all my kids have iPads, and they literally will just be quiet and play on their iPads for like 5 straight hours. So, they're really good on planes. My kids don't cry, but I still don't like to take them on planes, unless I absolutely have to. My thoughts on makers? Let's see. Oh, this is my super chat drink. Makers is okay. It's got a little too much wheat in it. If you're gonna go wheat, go all wheat. But it's a little too sweet, and not like bourbon sweet. Is it? No, yeah. Oh, I guess it is bourbon. It's not sweet like the other bourbons. It's a little sweeter than I like. It's okay. I like it. I'm just not. It's a little sweeter than I prefer. Why didn't you drive to Hawaii? So here I am. I said I was leaving, and I'm just sitting here. I should probably, whatchamacallit? Should probably wrap this up. So anyways, guys. Road Rage Minnesota win. I don't know. I'm hoping Dick remembers that he has promised me and Kimball a Road Rage Minnesota. Why all the hate for Johnny Walker Black? Oh, no. I like Johnny Walker Black. It's Johnny Walker Blue that I have the hate for. Johnny Walker Black that's the scotch I will buy at a bar that doesn't have a great selection, we'll say. Because I'm confident that the Johnny Walker Black will be consistently what I expect. But if you try and buy a higher end whiskey at a bar that's not really for higher end whiskey, sometimes it's an old bottle and it won't be as good and stuff like that. Like it's been sitting in the light. So that's what Johnny Walker Black is like my go-to at most bars, especially around here. Smurf says 10-second pitch on what the last 2 hours was about. Just a bunch of different updates on different things, man. Talked about Dick and Landau, talked about this weird case in New Hampshire where a guy got arrested for criticizing the police. Talked about Arab Andy. Talked about Poppy. Talked about Taylor Swift. Talked about what was the last thing? CM Punk. There's something else. Oh, and the Sesame Street lawsuit. So, if Dick submits a settlement counteroffer of 0, should Landau take it? Yes. Yes. My compound does not have a lecture hall, but we could probably just do it in the backyard. As an artist, how should I protect my ideas? Well, copywriting them is the best way. Register, like, actual copyrights. Costs a lot of money to do that, though. That's the best proof of ownership that there is. Anything that you can do, though, to prove when you had the art done, when you created something and put it down, is the best way. I only ever rented the NV, couldn't notice that, but the same problem drives me insane in my Corolla. Too many unnecessary parts for decoration, modern cars. If you wrapped it up more, you wouldn't need to rent vehicles for 5 kids. All right, guys. Peace out. Whatever. I'm gonna finish this Maker's Mark real quick, and then we'll close out the stream. Thank you all for joining me as always. I love having you guys out here. Thank you, Zephael, for that late chat. Let's see. Next time we meet, I'm challenging you to a drinking contest for your degree. If I lose, you get my liver. I don't want your liver. It's like handing someone a live hand grenade, Clay. All right, guys. Here. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to blank out the stream. And then once it goes blank on my end, we'll call it a day. See y'all soon.